Welcome to Unleashed. This episode is on the criminal organization known as the Black Sun. Hello, everyone. I am James Razile. This is
Andrew Fantasia. Hello.
And we are talking Star Wars.
We're talking Star Wars and we're talking crime. We're talking some dirty, dirty crimes.
We're talking the Sopranos of the Star Wars galaxy.
Ooh, woke up this morning.
Can you? That's your Netflix show.
Yeah.
Let's get right into this because we did one take and it did record. So let's do. If you could keep looking at this, you see where it says stop recording.
My eyesight is pretty bad.
All right, good. We're both blind.
Yeah.
Anyway, who cares? So, is Benicio del Toro a member of Black Sun? I'm going to just throw this right from the beginning because we're going to get more into it and how Black Sun might have ties with Snoke and other things later on. But let's go right into it just to throw you under the bus because you weren't expecting that. Yeah. Is Benicio del Toro's DJ a member of Black Sun?
I like that. That was a nice fastball. I would like a Black Sun member in the new films. But I am going to go out on a limb and say it's not Benicio, it's Rose.
Oh, okay. Keep going.
Like I said from the get-go, something about Rose didn't sit right with me. I don't trust her yet. So what better, plot hole, not plot hole, but what better plot element to throw, like a curveball to throw in the way of the Resistance than to have this girl who's like, yeah, I'm with the Resistance. Let's tell me all your Resistance secrets because I'm one of you. And then she turns around, tells the Black Sun sells that information to the highest bidder, who probably happens to be a very scarred man in a giant throne.
So now you're telling me something we'll get into in a little bit. Let's get into the backstory of the Black Sun. Andrew, who and what are the Black Sun?
The Black Sun. The Black Sun were a very popular boy band in 1997. Yeah. But other than that, they were the crime syndicate, not just a crime syndicate. They were the crime syndicate of the Star Wars galaxy. These were the guys who... Is there like a real world equivalent? Like, is there like a Black Sun of our, like the real world? Like, my first thought was like Hell's Angels, but they're not really, that's the only gang I can think of that's like super famous.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm innocent.
That's true.
Until proven guilty.
Oh, in a court of law.
Yeah. No, I can't think of anything. If you guys know something, I'm sure the comments will be flooded.
Maybe there's...
I can think of a lot. Andrew can't think of any, just so you guys know.
Yeah, they were this huge criminal organization. They swept the galaxy with their dirty dealings. And for the most part, they were, legends only, and then they started being mentioned, just name dropped in new canon material like Bloodline, which I did read, I promise.
Yes. Did you?
I did. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Oh, from what I've heard, you have not read it.
But the Black Suns, they became the focal point in this right here, in this puppy, Shadows of the Empire. This is where we kind of got a heaping helping of Black Sun, because you got Prince Shizor, who was like the main villain in this book, and he's pretty much the Wilson Fisk, if you will, of Black Sun. Is it going to stand? Oh, hell yeah, it's standing up. So, so that's where we got our Black Sun fix to start off with.
And then, yeah, like you said, they've been name dropped, which tells me one of two things. One, that they are going to play a part at some point, or the other one is that they're a name that they can use, and that's why they use them. And because the fans like us would be like, oh, yeah, Black Sun, I remember them.
Yeah, because Hidalgo can just drop that name, and we'd be like, yay.
Yeah, exactly. So it could go any which way. But today we're going to talk about the possibility of them actually appearing in, like we said, possibly The Last Jedi, possibly beyond. And now in our Shadows of the Empire video, which if not watched, you should check it out because that was in February.
That was a fun video, too.
A long time ago. Yeah, it's a long time ago, too. But Brock basically plays the game, and we talk about Shadows of the Empire, which you hadn't read until we did that video.
That's right. I actually had not read the book. I was just familiar with the N64 game growing up.
Which was from Dash Rendar's point of view, and the book is from other points of view. Mm-hmm. It was a really cool series that happened. But Black Sun, as you said, so let's say Rose is a member of the Black Sun. You think that, and in that video, I kind of thought, well, what if Snoke is the new Zizor, Shizor, Sizor?
Right.
What if that was the case? And now you're saying if Rose is a member of Black Sun or working for Black Sun in some capacity, she would then give information to the leader of Black Sun, who is a scarred figure on a throne.
Well, not necessarily that he's the leader of Black Sun, but that she would sell that information to the highest bidder. And, call me crazy, but a guy decked out in gold robes and Kyber bling on a throne sounds like he's got enough money to be a high bidder, if not the highest.
But that also sounds a lot like Zizor.
You're right. And it's funny because we didn't even know about the gold and the ring back then when you made that comment. And now it fits together even more perfectly. So it really could go either way. But I definitely, if somebody in this movie is Black Sun, I would put my money on Rose over DJ.
Okay. I like the idea of Snoke being the leader of the Black Sun.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we don't find that out in this movie, even if it's like, let's say Rose is who it ends up being, or DJ who it ends up being, I like the idea of, because Snoke, I did a flying casual with the guys from Rebel Watch last week, and we were talking about Snoke. I don't remember if it was actually on the flying casual or we just were talking about this in between. But we were talking about Snoke, and now we have this presentation of him where he's wearing the gold robe. He's obsessed with the money and riches and, looking
dapper.
I
hope he has a top hat.
He will definitely have a top hat. But, and my feeling was when we started, especially the Empire's End video, which was after this one, after the Shadows of the Empire, I should say, is I was like, well, he's a fallen will or a shaman of the wills, and he's something like that, and he's from the unknown regions, and that's why he was watching over, how he was able to watch over Leia, because he's pure dark side and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you look at the new way of Snoke's appearance, that doesn't fit with, and his obsession with riches and being dapper, it doesn't fit with that. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't fit. So either, the shaman of the Force priestesses wore the gold, so that kind of fits there, but everything else we're hearing about Snoke now does not fit with him just being pure dark side. Like he has to be tangible. He has to be like a person now, and so the idea of him being a crime lord, like the Penguin from Batman, so to speak, right? Someone like that who worked his way up is now in charge, and he's like, the best way isn't just to attack. The best way is to infiltrate from within, and now I'm coming up, and I'm going to lead this thing called the First Order, which no one will know about until the time's right, and the time is right, obviously, in The Force Awakens. And so, in that respect, he doesn't have to be Prince Caesar exactly, but something like that, I think, works out to be this new Snoke that we're hearing about.
Yeah, you're right, because that's a very important thing about the First Order that a lot of us keep forgetting, is that it was a huge secret right up until, shortly before The Force Awakens. In the Poe Dameron comic, the First Order is established as a thing, but it's very, they don't know anything about it. They have this sort of truce with it where they can't shoot at each other, but it's still such a mystery, even though they know what it's called and that it is, for more or less, their enemy. So you're right. The First Order kind of crept up out of nowhere. It wasn't like the Empire where it arrived with a bang. It just sort of snuck its way in, and it's like, hey, I'm here, which is the trait of a criminal enterprise, which is something that they would do. I can see a world where you have this guy Snoke who is extremely strong on the dark side and a criminal, and he thinks to himself, why don't I put this peanut butter with this chocolate? Why don't I use my skills with the dark side to further my criminal empire? Like, basically, if Shizor was Force sensitive, imagine the shit he could have pulled.
And what did you not like about Zizor? Like Shizor? What I don't know how to say his name. but because you were very specific on things that you're like, this cannot be canon.
Well, the one thing that was just way out there in terms of just how bad a guy he was he tried to rape Leia.
Yeah. Which you're not going to put in Disney's.
No.
Even though Lucasfilm is separate from Disney in a lot of ways, it's still under the brand, and you want to sell it, and it's kids. You still want to sell the toys to kids. Mm-hmm. But so if Zizor's not around, but you have Snoke as a new version of him, completely separate character. The same character, but you lose a couple of the traits. You change his name, same idea. Then you can make that work.
Yeah. Yeah, I can feel that. I like, obviously, you know.
But I want the ponytail back.
Oh, imagine. It's like a man bun, but with none of the other hair. It's just the bun. He's if they put him back in that, like, to fill that Shizor seat, you're right. He's not going to be quite as rapey as Shizor was, but take what he had here, like the villainous stuff about him, add powerful, force abilities, and you've got a scary villain on your hands.
Think of all the scenes that they go back to and they're like, Shizor was there, and just replace that with Snoke.
Yes, you're right, because that's the first scene of this.
Yeah,
which I loved was the scene from Empire where you see the Emperor for the first time in a hologram, and Vader's like, "Hey, what's up, boss?" And I'm paraphrasing. And
I wish you weren't.
And the Emperor's like, "Oh, we have a new enemy, Luke Skywalker." Blah blah blah. That's the first scene of this book, and it's from the Emperor's point of view, and he turns off the hologram, and Shizor's just sitting nearby waiting to talk to the Emperor, and Shizor's like, "Wow, that Vader guy's a real asshole, man. Why do you put up with him?" So we have this twist on a scene that we already know. Snoke has been around for a long time, so what a great way to put him in there, sneak him into parts of canon, and just he's integrated. He's there. He's ready to go.
Yeah, I think that that's a way to get Snoke in there. Black Sun. So let's move away from Snoke now.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question.
Well, we might go back to Snoke.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh, I don't have answers, but let's go.
What if Laura Dern is the head of Black Sun?
Yeah, it's a possibility. I was actually going to go there. Oh, you son of a...
Chrysalids.
I didn't like that book. The Chrysalids, did you read it?
Yeah, the girl has like 6 toes.
I didn't read it. It wasn't my
There's incest in it.
Yeah, no.
A lot of incest.
A lot of things I don't like about it. I haven't read it for like 20 years, but when I remember, no offense, I'm sure the author's great.
Mm-hmm.
But that was my feeling on grade 9. Laura Dern, the head of Black Sun. What do you guys think? Comment below, because I'm stuck right now. Not that I can read it. We're not live. I like the idea. The idea is kind of cool that she could be that, because imagine if like Snoke was working for her.
Well, look how much power she supposedly has. Like, we don't know anything about her except her name and how she looks. But
yeah, I can't. She's in the Resistance, right? She's high up in the Resistance, and this is what confuses me actually.
Resistance or Republic?
I read Resistance on, I think it was the Metro. They did an article on a bunch of characters, and anyway, but let's say Resistance for argument's sake. Okay. Let's go with Resistance. It confuses me because Leia starts the Resistance in the Bloodline book, which you have not read. And Snap is there, and Poe's not there, which was, I thought, also kind of weird.
In Bloodline?
Yeah, Poe doesn't show up at the end, right? It's just Snap and Sea Striker. I did not like Sea Striker.
I like Josh Sea
Striker.
No,
I like him. I didn't like his name, Sea Striker. And that could have just easily been Snap or Poe.
Yeah, you're right.
That was my one other problem with it. But anyway, who cares? It's not a problem. Stop it. But if she's high up in the Resistance with Leia, that confuses me already, because Leia would have started the Resistance. The Resistance is Leia's baby, right?
Right.
She starts the Resistance. Without Holdo, she's nowhere to be seen in Bloodline when that Resistance is first formed. So if she's high up, that means she came in and she worked her way up, which leads to a few things. One, why would she, and we know that she hates Leia. Like, her and Leia have a budding relationship. So either they respect each other, but they butt heads, or Laura Dern is somebody that that is not who she says she is. And if she's high up in the Resistance and she came in later on and she dresses very elegantly, then that kind of makes sense. Then maybe she is perhaps the leader of maybe Black Sun or something else. But we'll go with Black Sun for this video. Leader of a Black Sun crime syndicate. But what is her plan? Like, where was she in The Force Awakens? Well, if this is what I mean. Like, if she's not in The Force Awakens and the First Order emerges in the Force Awakens, maybe this is her panicking now because that wasn't supposed to happen right away, and now she's like, guys, you acted too soon. Mm-hmm. I've got to go take this down from the inside now.
Well, see, I didn't read this Metro article, but I was always under the assumption that she was not Resistance. She was just strictly New Republic. She was like Senate, high up. Like, she was basically, I'm seeing her like trying to usurp what Mothma was.
That could have been exactly it, except now that New Republic's destroyed, maybe she's with the Resistance now, and that's why she's high up right away.
Maybe.
I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure I read Resistance, and so anyway. Don't hate me, guys. I'm sorry.
I always looked at her like she's playing for power against General Leia, trying to lead the Republic. Because they never really made clear if there's a chancellor or who it is. I'm assuming it was one of those people we saw in Hosnian Prime. I think one of them was supposed to be a chancellor, if I remember right. So
that was the problem with that part of The Force Awakens was the people that got killed on that planet. Like they showed you, but we don't know anything.
Yeah, we don't know exactly how important those people.
The first time I saw it, I thought it was Coruscant. I remember being like, did they just blow up? No.
Yeah.
They did, and then someone was like, no. And then I read it was Hosnian Prime. I'm like, did they say that? I mean, they did later on, but whatever.
Yeah. So if Holdo is in fact New Republic, and her whole gripe with Leia is, I don't like this militant arm you founded, that would be a great platform for her, either as a First Order person or as a Black Sun person, to put a stop to A, accumulate power, and B, put a stop to Leia accumulating power, to weaken the Resistance and thus weaken the Republic.
So everything you're saying about Holdo, I have to ask you this question because I don't watch the Game of the Thrones. I don't like games.
How do you feel about Thrones, though?
Hit or miss. But anyway, I don't watch it. But Josh from the Den of Nerds said that he heard that The Last Jedi is the prequels meets Game of Thrones. Is there a character in Game of Thrones that could fit the Holdo, the little we know, what you think of Holdo, and then can you spin that into what could happen in The Last Jedi?
Okay, when you say the prequels meets Game of Thrones, all I think of is some like British guy saying I don't like sand and then getting his throat cut.
Yeah. No, but let's say the prequel aspect, the appearance of a lot of it, because everyone's ritzy, it looks like in Kanto Bight especially. But then the Game of Thrones for the storytelling and the structure, because everything goes towards Game of Thrones now because there's so much going on there, right? But so let's say that aspect of it.
Well, whenever somebody says Game of Thrones meets this, I always interpret Game of Thrones as political backstabbing and maneuvering, because that's basically what that show is all about. And
that fits with your Holdo.
It fits with the Holdo. It fits with what we saw in Bloodline 100%.
And Rian Johnson had notes. Bloodline. He gave Claudia Gray notes for Bloodline.
That's right. So I can totally see throughout this whole movie, I can totally predict this coup being planned by Holdo that slowly unravels, making Leia look bad or whatever. But by the end of the movie, I would almost bet money on the fact that by the end of The Last Jedi, Leia's position of power will be severely diminished and Holdo's position of power will be severely elevated. And that's through whatever machinations, whatever Holdo is putting forth.
And then you think they got to resolve that in 9?
Yes.
Ugh. I say ugh because it's so fast. You know what I mean? Like it's like you build, and then like, hey, you got 2 hours now, resolve it.
You're right. I am all for like them saying, hey, in another 2 years we're getting episode 10, and it's just gonna keep continuing. It's not like episode 10 is 30 years later. Like episode 10 is like 5 minutes after 9. I'd be all for that. So I agree. Like it's when you get to the third movie in a trilogy, especially after like something that leaves a lot of dangling plot threads, to see everything wrapped up in 2.5 hours is always kind of a letdown. Like again, I'm gonna bring up Pirates of the Caribbean again for 1 second. As much as I love the first 3 Pirates movies, I remember being kind of bummed at the beginning of part 3 when the Kraken was already just dead. Like they just saw it on the beach. They're like, oh yeah, the Kraken's dead. I was like, man, that Kraken like messed everybody's shit up in the second movie like 9 times, and then now like there's no like fight with it or anything. It's just like, yeah, right over there it is, it's dead. So to have to wrap up everything in one movie after like setting so much up in part 2, I understand.
I think it works for Jedi or Return of the Jedi from Empire Strikes Back, because really the loose thread is Vader's his father and you got to go get Han. Yeah. Like, so I think one movie, whether you like it or not, you think it's a good ending, I think one movie kind of works with that. But if you're building, which they obviously are, because the difference between A New Hope and The Force Awakens is A New Hope is, it could be on its own. It doesn't need sequels. I mean, it's a complete story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it's cool that we go on Avengers after that, but if they only made that one movie, we'd be satisfied with that one movie. Whereas Force Awakens needs The Last Jedi.
Yes.
Which means already The Last Jedi has to answer questions from that, but then it's the middle chapter of a book, so it has to also have more questions. And it's not going to answer all of the questions that we have. So now, all of a sudden, you've got one movie... and you have to answer 2 movies worth of questions in one movie.
Yeah.
Just keep the movies going. It's a saga, not a trilogy.
Yeah, just do 10 right away. That's, oh man, I hope that happens so much. But back to Black Sun.
Which is the topic.
Which is the topic of our video. What a perfect outlet we have to bring Black Sun into the picture with Kanto Bight. I mean, we have a casino. Casinos and the mob go hand in hand.
Here's an idea. What if DJ... what if DJ... He's in Kanto Bight. And he's not the leader of Black Sun. Like, you don't think he is. Not that I think he is. Just, you for sure said he's not. But let's say he's not. But people think that he's twisted and evil. And he kind of is. But he's hunting down Black Sun, possibly.
He's like Elliot Ness. He's just kind of like... His job is to just take down this organization.
Earlier we spoke about how he could be taking down Sith.
Mm-hmm.
But if Sith don't exist... Sorry. For sake of argument. Sith don't exist. What if he actually is after Black Sun and a leader of the Black Sun? Not knowing exactly what's going on. He's like, Black Sun's here. There's a leader here. I have to figure out who this is. He doesn't know who it is. Maybe it's Snoke. Maybe it's Holdo. They both look like they could fit into that world of Kanto Bight.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say that he's there, but then you have, I don't know who's on Kanto Bight with him. Finn, Rey, Luke, Chewie, Poe, Rose.
Lando?
No. Because Lando's not in it, they said. Unless hopefully it's a trick.
It's a ruse.
Because he's got to be at the funeral. But anyway.
He's not getting any younger, Disney.
No, but let's just say, and so they see this guy, and they see this guy's doing things, and he's like, what's that guy up to? What's that guy up to? So we're like, what's he up to? He's no good. But really, he isn't really good, but he's after the bad.
Exactly. Well, look at the photos we got from, what was it, Vanity Fair? The Vanity Fair photos? Like our first look.
The VF.
The VF. Exclamation point. The first look we got at DJ and Holdo. I mean, what a great example of like a red herring. I mean, here's this guy. He's all dangerous. They call him the Man in Black, for God's sakes. He's sitting with his leg on a table, and he's looking all crazy. Like, everybody will look at that guy and think, man, I don't trust him. But then here you have this elegant woman in, like, a purple dress with her back to the camera. Like, that, to me, I'm like, okay, she's in charge of something. Like, I would put my money on her being Black Sun over him. Like, it feels like a bait and switch.
Unless they're doing that to make you think that it feels like a bait and switch and not doing the bait and switch.
It's a double bluff.
Yeah, which is totally possible.
Yeah.
Because Star Wars is very much in your face.
Mm-hmm.
The exception of, like, I am your father. Pretty much everything out is laid right in front of you.
I mean, how many bad guys in Star Wars wear black cloaks?
Yeah.
The answer
exactly.
is
like that's the thing. Like it's not like, I mean, they might try to deepen it a little bit, but it's not really, like, on the surface, Star Wars is not deep. I mean, it is, but anyway.
So that was why I was so happy when I heard about Snoke in this gold robe, because it's not another villain in a black cloak. You know, it's something different.
And he fits right in with Kanto Bight.
Yes, he does.
Fits in with that world. So does he? Are people in that world familiar with him? And is the reason we go to that world to learn more about him, to figure him out? Because we know, you know what scene I can't stand in The Force Awakens? It's not in the movie. And I mentioned this on the Flank Casual. Is that deleted scene with the stormtroopers and Han and Finn, and they're like, "You're under arrest from Supreme Leader Snoke," and he goes, "Smoke?" And he's like, "Snoke." And he goes, "Who's Smoke? What makes him supreme?" Have you seen that scene?
I remember hearing about it, but I didn't actually. Was it filmed? Like, did they have it on?
Yeah, you can watch it. And it's like bad. The reason why it's bad is because it diminishes Snoke's character, because it turns him into a joke. And the villain, and I think that's why they were smart enough to delete that scene, because you can't turn a mysterious character like that into a joke. Otherwise, you have the Mandarin from Iron Man 3. Huh. That pisses everybody off. But the thing is, because if you put that joke in it, I don't know if you guys out there are interested in Snoke as much, because now you're like, well, he's just an idiot, like, who gets made fun of. I wasn't crazy about that scene,
especially considering Han knows A, who he is, and B, that he's the guy responsible for turning his son.
But then that also makes the question of what makes him supreme kind of maybe even legitimate. He's like, he's not that. And that's where...
If it was just that line, if they had said, like, Supreme Leader Snoke, you're under arrest, and he's like, what's so supreme about him? A, that's Han Solo. B, that works much better because now we have, like, this humorous line, but it also gets us to think, like, yeah, what is so supreme about this guy?
Yeah, and what is supreme about him?
Well, he's got bling. He may or may not run a criminal organization.
This is why I think DJ and Han Solo knew each other on some level, and that's how they knew Snoke. And I think Snoke gave Ben Solo a gift when he was born.
Oh, like a Maleficent kind of thing. Like he showed up at the baptism, and he's like, "Well, wasn't I invited?" Yeah, I can feel that. I can feel that.
That's why I kind of do, and that could even be the Black Sun. I think if he's a member of Black Sun, because I have the ties into Black Sun. Black Sun might not have been a criminal organization, known as a criminal organization at that point. And then, well, then you got to figure out where the turn is on Snoke, and why, like, where's the turn? How does he turn Ben into Kylo, and why hasn't Leia, Han, or Luke spoken about it? But then, apparently, Han didn't know that Snoke was responsible for the turn.
I think he knew.
Yeah, so
he must have known.
Yeah, but well, let's just go with it. So that's what's confusing. Unless, like, there has to be a reason why Leia didn't come out and be like, maybe because of the Vader thing, because nobody could trust her because of the Vader, and nobody would believe that Snoke is evil.
If Snoke is involved in Black Sun, I don't think that Kylo Ren was aware of that, or even is still aware of it, because he doesn't seem like the kind of guy, messed up as he is, to care about criminal dealings. Like, he seems to kind of be a big picture kind of dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think that Black Sun is a method through which Snoke manipulates people. I think it's his end rather than his means, if that makes sense, if he's involved in it.
Yeah, and then the Knights of Ren could even be an offshoot of Black Sun to some degree, where he doesn't, because what you just said about Kylo, he won't tell Kylo that it's Black Sun. He's like, no, you are the leader of the Knights of Ren, who basically just do what he wants them to do. But Kylo Ren's like, oh, I'm the leader.
Look what we've seen them do. Go, like, in the scant few seconds we've seen them, is they go to a place and they burn it down. Like,
well, we think that's them.
We think that's them. That could be the Smurfs in armor for all we know.
Yeah, we have no idea. Well, you and Brock are going to, at some point, you're supposed to do a celebration. You're going to do a video on an Unleashed on the Knights of Ren.
Oh, that's right.
But there is a possibility that they may never return. They will, but think about it. They could easily just be like, yeah, the Knights of Ren don't exist. I think they're going to. I'm not saying they're not going to, guys. Don't yell at me. But I'm just saying, like, nothing about them in The Force Awakens makes you go, I need more Knights of Ren. It's because we knew about them going in. Like, The Force Awakens doesn't enhance them at all. Like, like, they're the coolest guys ever. The pictures I've seen are really cool.
I believe we'll see them again, if for no other reason than Snoke calls Kylo the leader of the Knights of Ren. He doesn't call Kylo the last of the Knights of Ren. So they're still floating around out there somewhere.
I know, but I'm just saying, if Rian Johnson's like, I just don't feel like giving them.
That's true.
But I think they go to Acto. I think that's been almost all but confirmed.
That'll be cool to see. Now, there's in terms of criminal organizations, there's another one that keeps being brought up. I think it's only in new canon. I've never heard it in Legends before, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's called Crymorah. Mm-hmm. You know the one I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Crimorah. They bring it up a lot. They brought it up in Bloodline, and I'm about 90% sure they brought it up in A New Dawn, and I think Dark Disciple too, which means it's been around for a long time. And they keep dropping it. Even Aftermath, I think, dropped it once. Like, they keep slipping that name in there, Crymorah. So that is becoming a bigger part of the world as well. And I don't know if we've seen members of it. I can't remember. I'm sure we have. I'm sure somebody's popped up and be like, yeah, I'm Crymorah. Hello. But
are they all Hondo?
Yeah. Everybody is voiced by Jim Cummings now. But the fact that they keep, slipping it in there tells me that sooner or later, we're going to see it in a visual medium.
Yeah, and Kanto Bight.
Mm-hmm.
And is Kanto Bight Croatia?
Dubrovnik. You told me it was.
No, don't throw me under the bus.
Because
I think I read it was, but now I'm not sure. I can't figure it out.
I don't know. Like everything I've seen of Dubrovnik, like the city streets.
Right down there.
Yeah, right.
I think it is because we've seen the inside of Kanto Bight. We haven't seen the outside, other than those leaked pictures.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
I've always been picturing Kanto Bight though as like it's a casino floating in space. That's how I've always seen it, like a satellite.
I don't think you're gonna get that. I'm sorry.
Maybe I'm wrong, but just
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you're dead wrong.
I'm dead wrong. What I saw of the Croatia shoots though, it doesn't look as glitzy as Kanto Bight. At least, granted, it is exterior what we saw, but that town doesn't look like it has the Monte Carlo of the galaxy in it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the Monte Carlo of the galaxy looks like.
Well, it looks like Monte Carlo, but with more stars and lasers. And James Bond is wearing a black cloak.
See, can't by all the casino business be a front for crime organization?
Oh, absolutely.
Wow, you're so pessimistic.
I am. The question for me is like that's in my head is just literally which organization is Kanto Bight a front for? Because as soon as you throw a casino at me, I'm like, okay, who's pulling the strings?
But like the picture of DJ has him with like a suitcase or something under him.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a worker of the casinos? And therefore is he, like a right-hand man of whoever's in charge of everything?
Well, if he is, I'm sliding more and more towards DJ being this slicer that we keep hearing about, this hacker. And if that's the case...
Well, are these turning into the Fast and Furious movies?
It might be.
I am in.
I've never seen a Fast and Furious, save for the first two.
So you are missing out, sir.
I'm missing out.
You just go right to number 5.
I heard 4 is good, too.
No, just go right to number 5.
Okay.
And you do 5, 6, 7, the ending's good. 7, 6. And then 8. They're terrible. No, 4 you can skip. Because only Vin Diesel and Paul Walker come back. But 5... everyone's back, and The Rock shows up.
But see, I don't know everyone.
No,
all
you
I
don't
know
have
is
to.
Vin Diesel.
Trust
and Paul
me,
Walker.
you do not. You do not have to know anyone because you're gonna get reintroduced to them.
Mm-hmm.
You just start at 5. The way they talk about that franchise is before 5 and after 5. It's a whole.
I always thought it was before 4 and after.
No, 4 is still
Really?
terrible. 5, the whole thing changes to. Well, they're all the same movie from that point on. But
so how many times does Vin Diesel say "born to drive"?
I think he stopped because they don't drive anymore.
Oh, wow.
He says family now. Family. And then like anyway.
So are they Black Sun? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Probably. Actually, Vin Diesel looks kind of like Zizor. So
I don't even know what the plot is of those movies. So if you told me they were Black Sun, I believe you.
I don't think they know what the plot of those movies are either.
That was something that, I know this is a huge side eye now, but that was something that always puzzled me about the Fast and the Furious movies was because I've only seen 1 and 2. In 1 and 2, they were illegal street racers.
Yeah.
And now they're like killing helicopters with a car. And I'm like,
3,
what are they doing?
3 has nothing to do with anything. So, okay, so here's the best part. 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, and 6, and 7? 4, 5, 6 are prequels to 3.
Okay.
And then 7 and 8 take place after 3. Yeah,
but what are they? Are they still street racers?
What
do they do?
Well,
why are they driving fast?
They race once in a while. Oh, no, because they're criminals who keep getting hired by the government to do things. Anyway, back to...
that was all I needed. The trailers never told me that. The trailers are never like, these criminals keep getting hired.
No, because if you call them criminals, you won't... Anyway, let's go back to Star Wars, which is way better.
DJ.
Hey, thanks for sticking around, guys.
So the DJ thing, I'm believing more and more that he's the slicer that apparently Finn and Poe have to meet. And if that's the case, I can totally see this going an Ocean's 11 route where it's like he's got to hack into Kanto Bight's computers and get them something. But But
why would Benicio del Toro say that in that interview in Spanish that he is the bad guy, so to speak? This is a confusing thing because we're all like, he's not going to be a bad guy, but then Benicio del Toro came out and said he was a bad guy, and I feel like Benicio del Toro was just playing it straight. He wasn't trying to trick anybody.
We never know. Maybe he will be.
Benicio del Toro doesn't give a crap. He's like, what's his name? Galen Erso.
Yeah.
What's it? Nicholson. Yeah, he doesn't give a crap. He's just like, yeah, I'm Jin's father. Disney's like, what are you doing? Stop saying that. Like, no. He's like, I don't care. I'm gonna get a job after this. It's not like,
yeah.
So if he said that, but he's not actually the bad guy, but he appears to be a bad guy, that can also work out. But then the slicer, does that make sense? Unless, of course, they go to the slicer to hack in, and then he turns on them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a dog-eat-dog world.
He double crosses them, and he has no association with what they need either.
Yeah, he's just after the money. Or
money.
Secrets, info, everything is currency when you're at war.
Do they still use what kind of money is in the galaxy now?
In Rebels and Afra, there are like these bars, like the size and shape of my finger, that are different colors. Like there's like gold ones. They call them credits, but like there's like gold slivers and like platinum slivers, and sometimes there's like mint green and purple. So they look cool. I want to like hold some.
They're basically Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
So they're worthless.
It just says John A. McDonald on them in the language.
Nobody knows who we're talking about. All right,
He does. That one guy does. He's from Canada. He's like, hey.
Nobody from Canada watches this. All right, let's move on. Let's wrap this thing up.
Yes, Black Sun.
That's just Black Sun. Wrap it up. Will we see Black Sun in The Last Jedi, Andrew?
Yes. Towards the very end, it will be like a revelation. But Black Sun's workings are going to be throughout this whole movie.
Awesome. I really like the Holdo idea. I don't think it's going to pan out like that, but I kind of hope it doesn't now, because now I want it to happen, and I don't want to know. I don't want that.
I know, right? I don't want to be right.
Damn it! We talked about this 6 months ago. Son of a gun. Yeah, and I also feel like if we're talking about it, then they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see Black Sun. Whether or not we get them in Last Jedi. Yeah, sure. Why not? This was my idea for a topic. All right, Andrew, where can everybody find you at?
You can find me on Facebook at Andrew Fantasia and on Twitter at Andrew Fantasia.
You can find me everywhere at Petsafina, including PlayStation, where you can kick my butt at Battlefront, because I am terrible at it. And I'm hopefully going to get my hands on Battlefront 2 to play the, what's it called in October? What's that thing called?
Beta? The pre-release?
Yeah, I don't think it's called beta. Whatever. Anyway, I'm going to hopefully, because it comes out, you can play it in October. I guess beta, whatever they're calling it. You can play it in October. So hopefully I'll get that. And you can kick my butt on that one as well. Anyway, guys, I'm James. This is Andrew. May the force of others be with you.
Always.
Hey, scumbags. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.